Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome our keynote speaker for this evening, the New York Times bestselling author, playwright, filmmaker, and podcaster, Adriana Trigiani. There we go.
Oh, my people, a pack of Catholics, I'm so at home. Archbishop, that was beautiful. And you know, I noticed when you spoke, when Rich and I speak, people are out there talking and drinking, but boy, are they well raised, because they really got quiet when you did your speech. That's a sign that we're still a little bit scared of archbishops and bishops. And I'm sorry, I touched the microphone. That's also a Catholic school thing. Don't touch the equipment. Rich, I am blown away. I am completely blown away by this event and what you have accomplished, and what is going on in this room right now is this state of generosity and gratitude that can only come from a spiritual education. Because gratitude's really closing the loop. But for the life of me, I can't understand why you would have a big gala during Lent. Nobody's gonna touch the desserts. You could have put out a raw carrot. Who gave up desserts for Lent? Please raise your hand. See? We got an entire table over there. Of course, you're the late responders. That's why you're sitting near the kitchen. You gotta get in early on these things. All right. What happens when you get to be a certain age in life is that I will get on an airplane and come to Louisville, and in Louisville, all the past collides. So I want to start with growing up in Big Stone Gap, Virginia, because less than 1% of the population was Catholic, which is not your experience in Louisville. I wonder if there's anybody else here. And I turned to my seatmate, Mark, here, and I said, Mark, I'm praying there's some people that follow the Star of David in this room, because you can't be a good Catholic unless you are first a good Jew. Am I right, Archbishop? Thank you. So I want to thank our Jewish brothers and sisters that came. Boy, are you in for it. In Big Stone Gap, when there was hardly any Catholics, what did we have? Well, it was very beautiful, very devout. Certainly, you know, there was Sunday school, which was called instructions. Beautiful. And my parents, God love them. My mother's from the Iron Range of Minnesota, and our father was from northeastern Pennsylvania, and he went to Notre Dame. Our parents met at Notre Dame because my mother's brother went to Notre Dame, and then he got his twin sisters jobs at Notre Dame as librarians. We got that covered? It's how you meet a husband, is get in the library. Okay. So, when we were growing up, we went to public school. And public school, it was a little fraught for Catholics. First of all, I don't think we were very popular as Catholics. They didn't really understand our faith. And our father would say things to us like, be kind, because you may be the only Catholic they ever meet. Things like that didn't help you when you were getting hit by your locker, if you know what I mean. Okay. So it was Lent, and the school would send home with you a mimeographed copy of the hot lunch schedule. And they usually had hamburgers on Fridays. So our father went up to the school to talk to the principal. We were mortified. Please don't go. Please, we just won't eat on Fridays till this hell of 40 days is over. But my dad persisted, and if I could describe him to you, he looked like B.B. King, except he was white, okay? And so he was daunting as a figure. We were scared of him. Well, that's how you're raised in a Catholic home. You're scared of your dad. It's just the way it was. I used to say to my mother, Mom, why does he wake up angry? What's happening in his sleep? And she said, don't worry. One day he's going to wake up when he's 68 years old and he's going to be a teddy bear. Almost on cue, at 68, he woke up and he was a teddy bear. She was right. But for most of our childhood, he was just, they had the old good cop, bad cop situation. So he goes up to the school and he's meeting with Mr. Lester and Mr. Gillum, the vice principal and the principal at Powell Valley. And so he goes in and he said, gentlemen, I think this is a learning experience for all the children at school. Why don't you switch the hamburgers off of Friday during Lent, put the soup beans on Friday, the soup beans and cornbread. That's a vegetarian meal. And it respects our Catholic faith. And the principal kept trying to interrupt my dad as my dad was expounding upon no meat on Fridays and suffering and Lent and being a good Catholic. And finally, the principal said, Mr. T, because they could never pronounce our names. So it was just the letter T. Mr. T, we don't have a problem here. And he said, you're going to switch the hamburgers off of Friday? He said, no, Mr. T, there ain't no meat in them burgers. They were soy burgers. So when I said my life was colliding, I went to St. Mary's. My sisters are here, Pia and Francesca. And from Powell Valley High School, Lindsay Meadows. Lindsay, forgive me, I don't know your married name. He's a handsome husband. He's tall. That's all I care about is a little height, Archbishop. Nothing wrong with a tall man. And then from St. Mary's, my friend Tricia Burke, who you all know from Habitat. I'm sure you know her. And yes, and it just seems to me, Lent has a lot of purposes. And it isn't just about giving up something. Actually, it's the perfect time to have done this gala because your generosity, every person that's in this room, you're going the extra mile for some kid who doesn't have it. Now, I don't know how that lesson got through to you in the massive numbers that are in this room tonight, but it got through. So you're not just walking the walk for the sake of walking the walk. You really believe in this. And on this planet, there are two forces of energy, and you have to figure out which side you're on. There's creativity, which I believe comes from God, and there's destruction that comes from you-know-who. And be very aware of the destroyers. They're not looking to the future. They're just taking whatever they can get in the moment. And to me, to be Catholic in that wonderful Glen Mary way, Archbishop, you weren't a Glen Mary, were you? No. The Glen Marys they kind of wore flannel shirts. And, well, we had one that was very theatrical, Father Bond. He was lovely, and we did a lot of processions. So we had that old Catholic feeling. But mostly what I saw from the priests and the nuns was a sense of, what can I do? Who am I, and what can I do? And how do I pay it forward? So tonight, you're not only paying it forward, you're ensuring a very, very robust future for Catholic education of which you were the beneficiaries. And this is really, it's not only important, it's essential to hold on to your faith right now and always. It was described to me this way from my grandmother. She said, it's your rope. You got to hold on to that rope. Things are going to happen in your life that you don't see coming. Things are going to happen tonight when we go home. Who knows? I could pass out in the hallway here and say she looked pretty good right before she went to see Jesus. But that rope is what saves us. And the best thing we could do, is hand it off to the next group. So tonight, before I leave you, and I don't want to leave you, but Rich has me on a schedule. I've been scared all day, sweating like an animal. How am I doing on time? I'm telling you, it's very organized, which is very Catholic, frankly. I mean, tonight, I'm sitting up here thinking, I'm doing some calculations in my little notebook saying, if we played bingo tonight, we'd be golden. I could raffle off your car tonight. Remember those? Somebody raffle off a Cadillac? Remember that, Father? Somewhere. But before I let you go, may I express my gratitude to all of you for being here and for allowing me to be with you, because this is a gift to me. And before I leave the stage, I had one job, Archbishop, as a waitress, one job that ended so disastrously. Well, I'm going to tell you a story really quickly. In Big Stone Gap, they opened up a historical home. And this was the 1970s. And I had a new pair of clogs, and I was wearing what they called then, girls, remember, the maxi dress. And all I had to do was serve the people, bring the dinners out, just like you saw these beautiful servers do. And I hit a rag rug in my new clogs, and the dinner ended up on the father of the bride. And Mrs. Polly, who was in charge of the home, I went back to the kitchen and I said, I accidentally spilled the dinner on Mr. Masters. It was his daughter's wedding. And she went, oh, we don't have enough plates. That's a sign that it's a volunteer organization. And later, they stuck me in the kitchen, and then later she says, I'm sorry, I have to let you go. This is not for you. And I was devastated. And I said, but you can't fire me, Mrs. Polly. And she said, yes, I can. You're fired? I said, no, because it's volunteer. So before I leave you, let's give a huge round of applause to the people that prepared our meal and have so beautifully served it to you tonight. I'm kind of agog at it. And you know, nobody has to tell you this. Thank you, yes. But just keep doing what you're doing, because you're changing the world. And I know Louisville's already pretty perfect, but what you're doing will last for generations, and my heart is with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Adri. And thank you for staying on time. Now, you're a Catholic school graduate whose great works continue to inspire others around the world to become the best version of themselves. Deep thanks to you. Thank you very much.